Okay. Hi everyone, welcome to this week's review. Now that we have, I think, Jonathan in the room, maybe we can start with your game. This is your game, right?
Yes, I'm
Okay,
white.
sounds good. Is there a specific part of the game that you're particularly curious about? Otherwise, I'll just go from the beginning.
Mm, no, there were some mistakes, which you'll see. But
Okay, sure. And were you black or white? White?
I was white.
You were white, okay. Okay. So right off the bat in the bottom right corner, this shape black extended, but Atari here would be the proper move because you want to take away I shape in the corner, and every time you can get your opponent into this empty triangle shape, you should go for it. In the past, this type of shape was played more often, but nowadays the consensus is that it's a little better for black. So the typical follow up is white Watari here, and it becomes kind of like a trade. White Watari and then Tiger's Mouth. Usually black will peep and then Hane, or honestly black and Tenuki here because the extending here and the Tiger's Mouth is BI for black. So it looks like black is in the corner, kind of painful, but black get this shape in Sente and can basically play somewhere else. So the black's efficiency is fine. And while white's shape on the outside is also not very good because white doesn't have a lot of eye shape. So this is a heavy shape for white. There are situations where white can play like this, but not in general, I would say. Okay, so in the game, black play more peacefully, so this is still about an even opening. Okay, so this is I guess this Joseki is making revival now that we have seen more AI variations recommending it. It works when the left side is white's influence. I would say in this case, the left side is still a little bit too empty to fully utilize the attachment, but it's possible. And Tiger's, yeah, Kosumi here, nothing wrong with it. I think turning is probably a little bit of a ajikeshi. It's a little premature. I would say because the left side is not super strong yet, white should just play the normal move, just protect the corner. And if you save the turn, white has the option to invade later, whether it's here, here, or maybe white will play this move or invade here. There will be some weaknesses for white to exploit, but if you make the turn exchange, then there will be nothing left. And it may look like black doesn't have that much, but keep in mind white doesn't have any real profit yet at this point. So if let's say white plays something like this and later black tries to invade and white just protects the side. If you start counting the territory, you will soon see that black basically ended up with more points, even though white started out with the advantage on the left. So that's a conceptual point. Now getting into mid game, we'll go through a little more of the bit of the reading issues. So here, shape-wise, white should either extend or just Hane wants to get Sente. A very common follow-up after this is this peep, because of course it threatens to go down. So black blocks here, then white can Atari and get the very nice Tiger's Mouth. Notice now white has pressed black, compressed black into the confined black to the corner. And if black tries to escape, white can peep here and block. And basically white can treat the stone in the upper side lightly and transition to the right side. It may be somewhat of a complicated variation, but I encourage everyone to try it out. The idea here is that white can play lightly and be comfortable sacrificing one side if necessary. So this bump is a little bit heavy. I do understand the desire to get a Sente block and then to attack black, but investing with this bump is just a little bit too heavy. So I think the idea is right, but the execution can be more refined. Okay, so here I think both sides play pretty well. Okay, so invading here, I think is slightly risky just because the center group is still unsettled. I think white should probably continue to jump, or at the very least try to do something on the right side just to get a connection, right? So if white can get something like this, then white has already reduced the right side in Sente. Now, if you play here at this point, it's possible black will fight out. That's why it's better for white to play moves like this earlier, when the upper side is not as heavy. So I think the good old jump here is probably best. And if black continue to jump in the center, and then white can consider coming into the right side. Moves like this, it just risks getting cut off from the center. And now potentially both sides will be quite heavy. The black block in the corner, it's also, I think it's a good idea, but maybe black can just wait a little bit once there are more stones on the outside. Because blocking here while big, it's still fairly early. This is only move 37. If we're after move 100, when most of the big points are taken, then I think this type of attack will be more attractive. Okay, so the highlight, I think the first highlight is this attachment. I think is a great move. Oh, okay, close that. Yeah, it's a great move in Sabaki, and it really hits the weakness of this corner. Typically, black can only extend, especially if you have a two space high Shimari. I think 90% of the time, extending up is the only move. You just have to give your opponent a Sente attachment. So definitely well played. Yeah, and here we can see white got a very good result. Basically, white lived on the right side, almost in Sente, and now black's corner is not alive. Okay, attach makes sense, but I think in this case, maybe white is better off just escaping, because black's corner is already alive, and if black making this type of exchange could potentially just take away white's own eyes, and black and at this point doesn't have to respond. So even getting this move doesn't necessarily help white find two eyes. Okay, but white is able to connect in the game, so that was fine. I think the problem was probably this block. If black allowed both groups to connect, then black really can't get anything from the attack. So at this point, I think it's a kind of a branching point for black. Black has to decide which side to go after. Because white can always go into the corner, I think black should concentrate on the left side. Yeah, so and in this case, there's no way for white to connect, and I think potentially white will have to get Gote here, and then we can look at um, maybe some sort of trade. For example, if black plays here and then white just capture this, and then black kills this group. Or if white tries to take Sente here, white can probably, this group can probably live, but black can profit a lot more on the right side. So overall, on the fight on the right, black's major gain is blocking at 2-2, but white was able to destroy most of the territory without leaving any significant weakness. So this is a pretty good result for white, especially considering the top right corner has bad Aji. For example, peeping, and of course the clam that's play in the game. So you played the clam. Have you thought about? Have you read out most of the variation here? Maybe black and just Atari here. This looks pretty complicated.
Yeah, and I can keep that to one eye in the corner.
So, what did you plan to respond play?
T18 first,
Okay, and then maybe turn.
and then maybe, or maybe that one of those two. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So the issue here is that you have two liberties, but no matter how you play, black will have three to
Okay.
four. But if you don't try to semi with the corner, you try to play on the outside. I think you'll have a better chance of making something happen. So at the very least, do you see this Kosumi?
Hmm.
You are threatening a throw in. So if you have some co threat on the outside, this can be very deadly because if you win this co, the whole corner, maybe 50 points, will all die. So keep in mind with this type of Kosumi. And if black connects, then you're taking away I will the strategy will work. Now you're up on liberty.
Yeah.
And if you jump, I think that's also another possibility. Jump, wedge, wedge, wedge. Looks like in this case you're up one liberty. If white black peeps, you can just take away liberty.
Oh yeah. It's worked out well for me anyway.
Yeah, so this is definitely a very good chance for you. The best response for black that I see is playing 5 first, and I think this can create a ko. So right now, if you connect, black can capture white, but if you take away a liberty, then this becomes the ko. So, having said all this, this doesn't mean you should play the ko right away, because if you don't have a very big ko threat right now, and black wins a ko, your group on the outside is also not settled. So this definitely requires some preparation. For example, at this point, maybe you want to try to find some ko threats on the outside, because the ko in the corner is so big. So that this takes some planning. If you just play out the ko like so, you may not have a ko threat. Yeah, there's no obvious ko threat for you right now. And you might even lose some points from starting the ko. So something to keep in mind. Even if you have something, you should look at the fallout. Maybe it's best to wait a little bit. But of course, in the game, this worked out really well for you. Okay, and actually, Black's group just died. Oh, wow, so you got pretty lucky here. You are able to just jump out and instead of taking away the liberty. So it's probably better so you don't get sealed in. At this point, one, two, yeah, there's no way for black to seal you. So you get a lot more points and can destroy a lot of black's potential in the center. And in this way, your bottom right probably wouldn't have died. But let's look at the shape here. Looking at it now, do you see a way for black to live?
Does O19 work?
Yeah, so O19 is a classic Tsuji here. It makes Miai of 2 eyes. In this particular case, I think this move also works. It will revert back to O19. So I think you should remember O19 because it's more generalized. This shape always works. Oh, actually, if black plays here, white can... Oh, this is still fine. I was thinking maybe white can play here, but actually this is still... Yeah, this is still alive for black. So this way is better. Yeah, if black played like this, this wouldn't have been an issue.
I think my opponent is here as well. I was surprised he didn't do the throw in at S17.
S7. Oh right, yeah, that would have mattered actually, quite a lot. So I think the best way is actually to connect here, and then try to do something. Because if you just Atari, throw in Atari, why can Tanuki? You don't have to connect here. And moves like this could become Sente for you. So just because your opponent Atari doesn't mean you have to connect.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so of course you capture the entire top side. So black's only chance is to kill the bottom right. Yeah, so it's not super easy once you're sealed in like this. Oh. I think black made a mistake by playing this move prematurely. It could have mattered because black could also choose to get this Sente. So the wall will be a lot stronger. So at this point, I think it's actually worth considering what you need to do to win the game. Because if you save this group, of course you win. But if you try to save it and a lot of it end up dying, then the game could be reversed. So maybe you can just think about trading.
Mm-hmm.
Like this, I think you can basically destroy most of the center, and you have more potential on the left side. Eyeballing, I think top right and bottom right would be similar, but you have a lot more on the left side. This should be enough for you to win. So if you have some time at this stage, then it's really worth considering what your game plan is. Whether you just want to duke it out by connecting or play more flexibly. And the other thing worth considering is where your opponent's weaknesses are. Right now, black has some weaknesses here, and then there are two cutting points. So if you cut here, black has to save everything, otherwise you have two eyes. So if you cut, black probably will extend or Atari. And that gives you a lot more Aji to work with. So for example, like this, it seems like black can capture, but you have a lot of forcing moves in the center. And the bottom group probably won't die. That is one way. And if you don't cut here, you connect first. That's also possible. The Aji here is just really bad. If you cut and then let's see. Yeah, if connecting is Sente, if black has to fix here, then you most likely would be alive. Black probably has to extend, and then notice on the right side, black is not alive. So if you can cut off this group, you'll become a semi-eye. And of course, you have so many liberties because you can still run toward the center. It's unclear even if whether what black can actually seal you in or not. So the point here is that if you are trying to live, first considering whether sacrificing is a strategy is possible, and next you have to look at your opponent's weaknesses. If you start from there, you'll be able to maximize the value of your group, even if it dies. So in this case, even if this group end up dying, you can at least live on the bottom, or you get a lot more forcing move in the center. That's very different from you've spent a move connecting, and black, let's say, fixes all the cutting points, and now you have nothing to go after.
Yep.
So even here, there is some hope. If you push and then Hana here, black has to connect. And in this case, there's no way for black to protect this in Sente. You can peep in Sente and then go back to the game variation. So this will become a capturing race for sure. So black's best move is to connect, and then you can capture, and then I guess connecting once would be better. Right, and then this will be the result.
I thought if I didn't take off the big group, he could just connect.
Connect where?
Capturing goes at like 011.
Yeah, so if you capture, that's fine, because if you can capture the right, and this group will live.
Oh yeah.
Why move one is Sente, right? So the question now is, after this, what's the status of this capturing race? So notice after 10, black has 8 liberties on the right. If white just connects, this is 8 liberties. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this is only 6. But I think white can get more liberties by playing the Hane. So it's most likely not favorable for white, but it's definitely better than the game variation. I think black's better to peep. So 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, so you might be up 1 liberty, unless black tries to make a ko. So if we play this out, yeah, white is up 1 liberty. So the key, I think, is seeing that 1, 2, 3, 4. This push and Hane is a Sente.
Yeah.
Yeah, so in this case, black actually almost lost the game because he played the exchange at 8 too prematurely. If he had saved it, he could have gone B in Sente, and there's no chance you could have cut off the right side. Right, unfortunately, the right side is just alive. Yeah, even if black Tenuki right now, I think your group would still be dead. Okay, but even after everything dies, I don't think the game is necessarily hopeless for you. If you connect, and then this move looks like it'll be Sente later, but you can save it. The biggest move on the board will be to protect the corner right now. Once you protect the corner, there will be more forcing moves around here. And black, once you push, it'll be more powerful. When you just push and let your opponent go into the corner, you're sacrificing 20 something points. And there you don't have the option of Hane because black is too strong. So right now, pushing at h5 is not that big. Right, it looks like you didn't get much on the left, and your group is in trouble. Here, I think black can just cut. Yeah, there's nothing for white to go after. No weakness, no Aji for white to exploit.
Yeah.
Yeah, were you worried about black cutting at all?
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's no way for you to come back from this. Yeah, so at the end. Oh, you won this game. That's surprising.
Yeah.
So I think it's because you got a lot of points on the bottom. Because you captured or you saved everything.
Yeah, this group probably shouldn't have lived on the left.
Right, yeah, you got the top and then the center. Black didn't capture the center and allow you to connect back. So black basically played too soft. Black just need to cut here, and this would have been game. Because you have to be careful too. There's the white's whole group doesn't have two eyes yet. So it's possible that if in the process of living, black can capture the center 4 stones. Yeah, in the game you save the bottom and the top. Right. So by this logic, if we go back to here, you're most definitely still winning even after the bottom right died because in the game you didn't get anything on the left, and that was still enough for you to win. So you just
Yeah.
need to protect the corner, and it should still be a small lead for you. Yeah. Okay. For this sake of time, I'll move on. But if there are questions, I can come back to this at the end.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, pretty exciting game though. After so many stones died, it's actually a reasonably close game. Okay, this game top right died, so seems like it was balanced before that point. Let's see. If anyone has questions, you just feel free to jump in and interrupt me. Okay, so first, this is a pretty common Joseki nowadays. Same thing as before. White has a stone on the left, so attaching on the fourth line. This is playable. But I think a lot of times we forget how valuable the corner is. Yeah, connecting is the only move, pretty much in all circumstances. Right, so this allows black to go into the corner and without much compensation for white. So right off the bat, black is taking a small lead. I think usually white wants to extend just to save the corner or to save the wall on the outside. And by extending, white will have more fourth moves towards the corner later. Okay, so yeah, black should extend. There's no reason to give white the Sente Atari. And this exchange also strengthens black's bottom. So I can see maybe white continue to expand and black can profit in the top in Sente and then do some sort of reduction. Yeah, it might look scary on the left, but in reality, black doesn't need to get too much, right? Notice Hane connected Sente, and yeah, just eyeballing. I think black can allow white to get so probably around this line because the entire right side belongs to black, and black can also profit in this corner. So if we draw a quick box, let's say here to here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's 63, about 70 points at most, basically. Black has 10, 15 on top. It's like 17, 18 in the bottom. So this is already 30 plus. With the top right, that's 40 plus with the bottom. It's already close to 50. And white has at most 70. So if black can reduce, let's say, around this line, and then come back to get another 25, 30 points on the right, yeah, the game will be very playable for black. Yeah, the thing is, black wouldn't play 11 and 12 and the Hane connect prematurely. Black can save that. So when white tries to attack, black can actually go deep and exploit these weaknesses. So here, jump, it's fine, but I think it's a little deep because black is better off playing something light, especially there's still 2 very big moves, right, and extending. So there's no reason to jump and then kind of give your opponent the initiative. And this is a slow move. White needs to either extend or attack from the center. Yeah, I'm not sure why neither side wants to play the Sente Atari. This move is big because it forces black to the second and third line in Sente. Otherwise, black can have territory on the fourth line, and it still has a pretty good potential to expand toward the center. I'll say the wedge part is a little bit too direct. There's no reason to play it right away. Black can just play something else. For example, black can attach, white will extend. This is a good Tetsuji for black to make shape, and black can hane. Looks like this double wedge is a misclick. So here I still think Atari would be the biggest move. If black extends here, then that definitely leaves the next weakness here very open. But without that, if white Atari here, which is a very big endgame move, white can play on the outside, and it's hard for black to attack this white group. And black still can't get much in the bottom. So b3 at this point is just an endgame. Okay, here. The Joseki move is definitely to connect back. And then white can do something on the outside. This white can sabaki like this. Yeah, it'll be something like this. Extending this way give black the bump, which weaken white a lot. Right, so black profited a lot on the bottom, but white doesn't have much on the right. I think black can choose to play a little bit more aggressively because this is all Sente. So maybe black can choose to play this move, or actually even just pushing up. So white's whole group is not alive. Yeah, this will be a very strong attack. So white will have to probably turn, and then yeah, black can choose to defend the bottom. It still leaves this very painful Atari for white. So as soon as white played this, black doesn't have much in the bottom. But at least playing this way, black can get some on the right side and still put pressure on white because white's group is not alive. So after white capturing the right side, I think, yeah, the game has stabilized a little for white. Because this becomes a pretty significant territory. And now black has some weakness here, and of course, a little weakness there. The other thing is, if black Tenuki here and then tries to cut off white, I think this seems like white is not completely connected. If white tries to live here, black can maybe even block. White's force zone's on the side. It's not completely safe yet. And through trying to live here, potentially white will damage the bottom group even more. So now when black try to seal, do some sort of attack here, it's unclear how easy it is for white to make two eyes. If black doesn't want to play this way, at the very least, black can definitely extend here in Sente. White will have to defend. And notice the entire bottom side will be black's territory. This is easily 30 points. And then black can come back to the right side. Yeah, black should still have a territory advantage this way. Okay, push. It looks like a Sente because normally white will respond to this, but this is already in the mid game. So in the mid game, we have to consider the utility, not just the shape. Right now, everything is pretty much alive, And the Hane here doesn't really have any thickness, life and death implications. So my point is, I think white can actually just ignore this move. Yeah. Now fully connecting the left side is very valuable. If black Hane, white can just capture. This is not a big deal. Playing this Hane usually will be very, very big, but right now white's entire right side is very stable and solid. So yeah, giving black 2 is not a big deal. So we just have to think a little more flexibly. Sometimes a common sense move will not be so straightforward. Okay, so black got Sente to play m3. I think that's a good move. But it is time for black to consider whether it's worth cutting off white here. But I guess considering that maybe white can live, it's fine that black tries to take the side first. So now if white ignores, then the cut at 2 will be more severe. I still think white should just spend one move and connect. This way the entire side will be stable and white can actually yeah, just feel safe. This type of move doesn't really help white. Okay, black captured and then white tanuki'd. Okay, the attachment is actually really good. So now white has an eye in the bottom and pretty much an eye in the center. So the group is stable. It's alive. I think capturing here is a little slow. So black decision right now is whether to attack white or not. Maybe at this point, it's hard to attack white since white has some eye shape in the bottom. So now it's time to go after points. If you look at points, jump will definitely yield more points than capturing because this also takes away some points from white. And it looks like it will be Sente. Because if white Tanuki, then this will be Sente cut, and then maybe this group will be in danger. But elsewhere on the board, I think top right is clearly bigger. Just 2 space or high or low. There's a good chance I think white can just Tenuki. Because white has an eye in the center and then another eye in the bottom. On the left side, white is also not super worried. So pushing is a slow move. Okay, so white block. Blocking is definitely not the biggest endgame right now, considering white can play something on the top left and then potentially, probably white want to reduce this group a little bit. At least you know, somewhere along this line. The corner, there could still be a little bit of Aji, which is black has to be careful for sure. Okay, so an example of Aji in the top right. So attaching is oftentimes a good place to start, and then why consider attaching again? So this works even better before the extension zone, and now white can cut. If black plays here, black can potentially cut off this stone, and if black Atari in the center, white can get this Atari, and then all of a sudden the corner become the ko. In this game, it looks like black probably has more co-threats, so white has to be careful about this shape. But in general, we should be aware that there's always a little bit Aji in a corner like this. Okay, it's nice. White finally got Sente and then get the chance to reduce the top right. Okay, but it looks like the peep and peep just didn't work out. Yeah, I think at this point white just needs to connect. Or maybe do something like this. This will be an okay result. Oh, and maybe white didn't see the double cut, double Atari. Oh wow, so even if white plays here, white will be connected. So the game can still continue. Looks like this will be still a game, reasonable game. Black is ahead in territory by a bit, 20 points maybe, but this is score estimate. If black somehow makes a mistake in the end game, there's still a small chance for white. And I think white made a misread and then the group died. I think the main issue for white is that in the opening, most of the moyo on the left wasn't utilized very well. And later white played some slow moves in the bottom so that black was able to get the top right and also the bottom. And of course the final misread. Yeah, white played well in the bottom before a lot of the center happened. I think responding to this move was a mistake. This is almost just a loss of a move because if white tenukis here and then it's black plays, it's the same shape. Having a cut stone, a stone here basically didn't help white at all in the game. So it's like white wasted a move here. Yeah, with that, I'll wrap up talking about this game and move on to the last game. Okay, so this game played to the end. Okay, very peaceful opening. Turning here, I think it's a little bit early. I would recommend white to expand to the side first, or like this move, or just approach black. The turn will be in a different shape. So if it was in this shape, actually more commonly, you'll be in this direction. So let's say this is like a similar type of opening. Blocking will be very big because after this block, white can also play this in sente, and then after this, white can usually also make these exchanges, and then this extension will be in sente. So in one move, white can get a very strong wall. The game position, however, is slightly different. After this, white can have this sente, but the outside is not quite as strong because this peep is a little more powerful. And of course, this extension is not sente. So that's something to keep in mind. And also in the other situation, there's always a possibility of cutting this way and starting a ko. But in the game situation, that's not possible. So that's why blocking in the other 3-3 joseki is more common and more valuable. Okay, so peaceful opening. Here, I think it's worth considering. More commonly, you will see black probably reducing a little bit lighter, also maybe jumping, and expand black. If black doesn't want to expand the top, that's totally fine. I think maybe a high split will be more desirable. However, the game move is also fine. The white made the bigger problem here actually. So right now, black has space to play a 2-space extension on both sides. The question is which side white should approach on. And the rule of thumb here is always, in a shape like this, or am I in the wrong game? Oh, I'm actually in the wrong game. I'm sorry about that. Yeah, I just realized Benkyo's opening this, so that's probably the wrong game. Okay, back to our actual last game. Yeah. Yeah, while everything I said in the last game is still valid, but because Bankill's reviewing it, I'll respect that and then discuss the other single digit Q game. So that's a good Joseki so far. It's pretty big for white to, yeah, it'll be pretty valuable for white to continue in the bottom right. At this point, the ladder still doesn't quite work, but white can Hane. This is still a good follow up. Actually, after this, if white can Hane once, the ladder here should work. Oh, it still doesn't work for. Oh, it still doesn't work for white. So maybe that's why white didn't continue in the game. Yeah, this is another kind of newer Joseki. This is old Joseki, but bumping here is I think it's an AI Joseki, but probably black doesn't need to capture this right away because even if white capture this gote, this doesn't affect the corner, so potentially black can just cut and extend up, or maybe even just play here. So I think the idea is black has to try to utilize the cutting point to do something, or just tenuki altogether. Capturing here, allowing white to connect, is not good enough for black. Okay, invading is definitely a directional mistake. Right now, white is very thick on the bottom left, and there's a wall kind of on the right side. And black's corner is not strong. So black's priority has to be fix the corner shape first. Whether it's Kosumi, and sometimes you can descend here. So after black has this move, I think black can only then can consider maybe invading. But honestly, even in this shape, I would recommend black to give the bottom side to white, because through these exchanges, black can profit on the outside and then get potential on the right side. So notice in this situation, black will have this ente, and later most likely this ente. This is only about 15, less than 20 points. Definitely under 20 points. And black's corner is already more than 10. So there's no reason really to invade a territory that's only 15 points. At the cost of course, creating a weak group for yourself. Yeah, so this is very successful for white. It looks like black is kind of sabaki, live out or escaped, but having a group like this floating without eye shape is very bad in the opening. Black will pay through the whole game because of weaknesses, because of this weak group. And notice white gain a move in the bottom right, so that's already worth probably 20 points because now extending the sente, white's group is alive, and all of this territory that black could have had is now completely gone. So white traded maybe 15, 20 points here and destroyed all black's territory. And now black's corner is weakened. White's group is very safe, and black has a weak group in the bottom. Okay, so taking the corner, definitely a big point. Here, might be worthwhile for white to push again. And here, black really wants to go for territory. I think attach would be better. But the focus of the game right now has to be around these two stones, because extending is pretty much sente against the corner. So if white seals on the outside, on the top, this group will be under some pressure. It might be alive for the time being, but potentially white can peep and attack from below. Blocking is definitely not very big because the corner is alive, and there's really nothing much to be gained from blocking here. The left side isn't even white's territory, So sometimes giving black this move that came out very big, but right now the left side is not white's territory, so white can just connect. And notice by playing these moves, black weakened the left side. So it's definitely best to just tenuki. And Hane here has been a very big move since the beginning, because the sente for white and the reverse sente for black to expand um, the potential here. So if I were white, I'll push and then maybe push again and just completely settle this group. If black tries to cut, white can connect here. Yeah, but white would not be afraid of this fight. So most likely black will extend again, or maybe Hane. And then white can fix this cutting point. And then white can probably consider attacking this group. Okay, so I don't know how many people are still on. But here I think white missed a very big chance. Black shape have a very obvious weak point. If white played this attachment, the bottom, the two stone on the left will be captured. White is up one liberty. So in terms of shape here, what black's peep is nice to reduce the top, but yeah, black's cutting attempt is just an overplay. Black has to just wait for a chance later and probably try to settle this group. Another point on the top. So black extended, that's a very big move. White played a 2-space extension. This is bad shape. And this shape, white can only do a 1-space jump. And I'll explain why. Okay, so black wasted a move here by playing the push and connect. This is completely unnecessary. However, later there's this possibility of attaching. If white plays here, black can actually double Hane. If white make the mistake of either tarring here or here, then this push is devastating. So there'll be cut. And a tarring here is the same. White has to connect here, and then black can capture these two stones. So the only way out for white here is this move, and then black can connect. Yeah, of course, then the extension, 2-space extension zone will be cut off. This way doesn't help either, right? If white blocks, black can push. And then if white blocks here, black can push, escape out. Yeah, that's why, partly why Hane earlier here is so valuable. Yeah, so next time if your opponent plays here, leaves a shape weakness or plays an unusual shape, I think it's good to be aware that this is unusual and think about whether you can punish that. Yeah, so unfortunately black didn't catch the mistake. Oh, so here eventually white still captures the 2-stone. I think at this point, if black peep first and then seal, this will be a much better strategy. Of course, the problem here is there could be some cut by giving white more liberties. But at the very least, peeping ones will save the left side and sente, and then black can fix the cut and then escape into the center. So if both sides settle, something like this, white will still have some issues, but black's biggest gain will be, well, A, continue to maybe attack white, and then B, now the bottom side will be safe. So this will neutralize white's earlier thickness on the right side and the bottom left. So now white is actually all connected. Black's global shape is now very, very weak. Right, and it looks like this will be game. Yeah, there's no way for black to save these. And actually, I think even white going after this group it's probably a slow move because these two zones is definitely more valuable. So white should go after these two first and then think about the left. After peeping one, maybe white can just seal because this peep, white can sacrifice this zone and just focus on capturing the 3. So now black has to be very careful. So it might be worthwhile to peep once earlier and then tenuki. So when white plays here, black has the option of playing this here and then extending instead of connecting. So there's a better chance of living like this. This is still painful, but a black will have a better chance of surviving. Yeah, in the game, black tried to save a group that's not savable. So I think eventually this group died. White made a mistake by peeping here. It's much better to just connect. Now you make a Mii of G11 and then pushing. So black will probably save this group, this stone, and then white can push. Compared to the game, white will have way more liberties. And I'm sure this matters a lot later in the game. Oh, so white made a blunder here. So now all of a sudden the game is reversed because black captured these 3 and now everything's alive and now white is pretty much dead in the center. I think now is important for white to really calm down and think about how to come back from here. Because yes, the center is all dead, but white had a good amount of points before and now the bottom 2 stones looks like are dead. So if white can just secure the bottom by maybe making this center exchange, maybe white doesn't have to save this, right? If we just determine that white doesn't have to save everything in the center, then white maybe doesn't need to take the risk. I'll say if white can just fix the issue in Sente, and then maybe just do a light reduction and capture the 2 on the bottom, that should be enough to win. Of course, the issue is we don't know if the bottom 2 zones are captured yet. So maybe white has to spend another move. So that definitely requires careful reading. It looks like if white has another stone around here, it should be dead. But maybe it's better if white spends another move. So it's a little unclear whether these 2 zones are completely dead yet. Yeah, in the game, white chose to save everything. And let's see what happened. Looks like, yeah, white was not successful. And then everything died. So honestly, white had the dominating position for most of the game until all of a sudden white accidentally got cut off. But even after this, if white can just calm down and think about how to stabilize from here, maybe white could have determined that saving the center is not necessarily a must. Yeah, so if we do a quick count, so let's say white played this way, and then black made some Sente move, Sente in game, and then jump. So how many points does black have? That's 8 zones, 16, 20, 24, 5, 30, 32, 34, 40, 50, 55, 56, 7, 8, 9, 10. A little under 70 points. While white has 10, 12, 20, 24, 34, 35, 36, 37, 40. Yeah, so it looks like white is still ahead because the bottom side is just so big. So yeah, I think a lot of the mid game and end game will be psychological. We will make mistake, but it's important to calm down and figure out whether we're still ahead or whether we're behind. after one side blunders. In this case, white definitely still has a chance, a very good chance, after the center died, because white captured a lot before that. So it's unfortunate that white blew a very good position, and that's a good learning point for all of us. With that, I'll wrap up this week's review. Thank you all for coming.